All right, stick around until the end, guys. We've got the war cards, of course. Then we've also got a special one-of-one card that I made for a player who accomplished a pretty cool feat. We will get to that after the fights. This is war number 4. We're up against DSVG. They're a Masters Alliance. They've placed in Masters for at least the previous 2 seasons, maybe even prior to that. So they're good. Their defense is pretty good. All right, I'm going to end up being on that Annihilus fight and on Path 9 Hazardous Shift, and then in Section 2. I initially had myself on backup in Section 1, but we're also going to take this Man-Thing and Punisher 2099. So when Alliance War Attack days fall on Alliance Quest, first day of Alliance Quest days, or really any day of Alliance Quest, I always tell our people in BG3, please do not join Alliance Quest until you've joined War first, because War, of course, takes precedent for us. And, you know, based on War is going to determine assignments, and you might need to swap out some people in Alliance Quest if they're needed for War. So Dreamin', our beloved Dreamin', decided to join Alliance Quest first in spite of my instructions, and I initially assigned him Quake, Ghost, and Wasp. Quake to take on this Annihilus, and Ghost for that Havoc, and then some Section 2 fights. And he took Quake to Alliance Quest anyway. So he lost a fight due to that. I'm going to end up taking this one with Quake. Of course, it's a very easy Quake fight. I don't have suicides on for this, and I used a combat regen because I wasn't sure how that Schadenfreude would mess around with the damage that I took. Now here, I'm going to be taking this Mojo on Power Snack Node 22, which works the same as Buffet, except instead of regeneration like Buffet, it's going to give them power gain. Now, this was initially slotted for the boy, Legacy, with his rank 3 Human Torch. However, Legacy, I think, slept in or fell asleep or something after he joined War. And he vanished for like 3 hours, so it was getting fairly late for us, and I really hate getting stuck in Section 1, and you know, late in day 1. So I was like, all right, screw this, I'm taking this. I did remove Dexterity, and you know, Mojo has been a huge pain point for me ever since Flow Seasons when he was a regular boss. I used to take him as the boss often, and he destroyed me numerous times, and I definitely have some PTSD against him. I honestly think that this is the first time I've fought a Mojo in War since the Flow season, so since at least Season 20. Just because I'm so terrified of him, but that went well. I got a little bit of redemption, which is great. The only downside is I did use an additional Power Start 1 boost and some more Mystic boosts, which I'm now running pretty low on, unfortunately. But, alright, so here I've still got Dexterity off. This is Spite. Normally I would leave Dexterity on for this fight using Quake. Man-Thing is very, very easy to Quake parry style without proccing Dexterity. But since I already had it off, you know, there's no sense in adding it back on for this fight. So I'm just going to hang out in the corner. This is a parry-only fight, of course. He is a stubborn defender. And this is going to go, he's going to go down fairly quickly. This fight is actually the only Quake fight of this war that is at full speed, just to kind of show you how quickly he goes down on this node. I really like Quake for Spite if the defender is completely safe to parry style. So works out super, super well. And then after this fight, I am going to go add Dexterity back in, of course. And then I've got this Punisher 2099 fight. This is obviously really good placement for Punisher 2099. Now, Built Up Corvus can do really well here. I did intentionally take a combo at the beginning of that fight because of the defensive power gain rate being considerably higher than the offensive power gain rate, aka I'm going to gain a lot more power from being struck than from hitting him. And because this node also has Aspect of Evolution, my goal was for him to never ever get to an SP1 to begin with. The reason people would place him here, of course, is because it's got kinetic transference also, and his SP1 is notoriously difficult to fully evade. Most players are just going to fully dex that, and it's got a whole bunch of hits, so it's just going to build his power up. So this is definitely a magic fight, and I would say definitely want a Power Start 1 boost there. Okay, so that, this war is going pretty well. Here I'm just going to place a couple read debuffs on this thing mini for Legacy. Now I'm doing Petrify because that's going to negate all of the Powerful from Afar power gain buffs, but I chose not to do Suppress, which is that's the defensive combat power rate reduction, because Legacy he's going to want normal defensive combat power rate for things so that he can manage his rock stacks more easily and make sure that he always has enough power to throw a special. Alright, so we have cleared the war boss. It was a Sasquatch, and they also had Node 49, a defender placed, this MODOK. Sasquatch, of course, can be ghosted, so leaving defender on Node 49 with a Sasquatch boss is not advisable. Pete, our ghost father, ghosted that pretty easily. And then that allowed the stubborn tactic to go away because the boss was cleared, which allowed us to Quake this Hazardous Shift MODOK. This is very good placement for MODOK in my opinion, but if you're going to place MODOK on Hazardous Shift, you need to place a boss that cannot be ghosted, because obviously the Node 49 link is just going to help Ghost with her power, converting all of those Incinerates and Poisons into Furies to help with attack. So this is a stun immune MODOK, and it is a fairly dangerous Quake fight. You can't really parry style MODOK because if you hold your block at any point, if you hold your block at any point, or try to parry him, and you're most likely going to influence him to throw a heavy, and I don't think that your heavy, his heavy is going to be something you can regularly or consistently dex or evade, and then you'll just burn up from the Incinerate. So pretty scary fight for me, but obviously went very well. So that is the war. Now, at some point in this war, we actually got up to, as an alliance, 108 kills and 0 deaths. By far our best start ever to a single war. Battle Group 3 ended up clearing the map with only 2 deaths, which is pretty good for us. However, the alliance as a whole ended up clearing their defense with only 3 deaths total. So BG1 had a 0 death clear, BG2 had 1. Here are all the fights that I took. Of course, we soloed all 5 of them, and I did have those pre-fights that I placed on Thing for Legacy. And then here I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm changing this up. The top defenders are still there, just the 4, but we're also going to document the top attackers that I've used, how many fights I've used them for, and how many times I've died with them. Alright, we had a decent war, a little under 7 power rating, which improved our power rating rank in the Alliance by 1. But our true difficulty rating per fight did go up because of the difficult fights that I took. Alright, so Chelizé with the silver, Hinach with the gold card, and Pete got the platinum card for his awesome war. And perfect segue into last war. Pete eclipsed a 120 solo streak dating all the way back to Season 20. So I made him this one-of-one Centennial Streak card to celebrate that accomplishment. We're so proud of Pete. And that is it for the war, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like and a comment. I will see you in the next video.